Good. I'm going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, July 1st, 2025 at 7 p.m. Can you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. And we all know that this is probably the best month, right? Because July 4th celebration is coming up. Can you hear me on that? Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to eat my mic again. And if we all don't remember that this is part of our Declaration of Independence right here, the life, liberty, pursuit of happiness that we have in STAR. So this is what we're all celebrating here. Coming up in a few days. So thank you so much. Tonight's invocation is going to be done by Councilman Wheelock.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to gather this evening as a city, and we're grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy. We are mindful of the struggles and tragedies that have happened in the north of our state and pray for those that are involved, that they will be comforted in their time of loss. We are grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy and grateful for those that serve as first responders here in our community. Please bless us as we celebrate the independence of our country this week, that we will be able to enjoy the freedoms together. We're grateful for the opportunity to have this council meeting and to discuss the matters of the city. Please bless us that we'll be open to all options and discussions that are had, and that we'll be able to have good discourse. We are grateful for this city and the community and the people that continually serve. We acknowledge thy hand in all things and say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, roll call.
Hershey,
Here.
Wheelock,
Here.
Salmonson. Here. Nielsen.
All right, everybody's present. We also have our city attorney. He's at a conference in Florida, so he's online with us tonight. The next item, the information item, I just want to point out, Mr. Arbiter, will you stand up real quick for me? I don't mean to call him out, but he got with me. We went to breakfast, met with me, and asked if there's a way that we can put something together on the road projects for the city of Star. So in our packet and out there on the table out there is information on the projects coming up with ACHD, ITD, and Highway District 4, so the citizens of Star can see what's happening. And this will get updated on a monthly basis if there's some changes on that. So I just want to thank Mr. Arbiter for reaching out and asking to do this, and so we could come up with that. So thank you for that. Okay. All right. Okay, and I'm going to read I'm going to actually jump and move item 7A up, the American 250 proclamation up here on the information side as well, because it's not an action item. And so I'm going to read a proclamation for the America's 250. You got to bear with me. It's 2 pages. Okay. Right. The City of Star, Idaho proclamation, a resolution supporting the America 250 in Idaho commemoration of the United States semi-quincentennial. Whereas the year 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and whereas Governor Brad Little proclaimed the establishment of the America 250 in Idaho commemoration in July 2024 to plan, encourage, develop, and coordinate the commemoration of this momentous occasion and honor and recognize the contributions of Idaho's residents to the nation's past, present, and future. And whereas the Idaho State Historical Society established the American 250 and Idaho Task Force to support the role that history plays in public discourse, community engagement, education, and scholarship in Idaho. And whereas America 250 and Idaho Task Force aims to engage Idahoans across all 44 counties and 201 municipalities through legacy projects between 2024 and 2026. And whereas it is fitting and desirable that we commemorate the birth of the nation with the support of partners and stakeholders across the Gem State, America 250 in Idaho will advance the ideals of the American Revolution equality, liberty, and justice through meaningful community engagement and recognize, appreciate, and commemorate Idaho's journey and America's legacy. And whereas the City of Star, founded in 1997, has contributed proudly and significantly to the history of our nation and our state for 28 years. And whereas the Mayor and City Council of Star thus encourage its citizens to create and participate in programs that will commemorate the history of our city, our state, and our nation. And whereas preserving, studying, and enjoying state history strengthens communities and builds bonds between Idahoans as we work together towards the goals of justice and equality embedded in the United States Constitution. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Star hereby endorses the America 250 in Idaho commemoration and its vision to celebrate American history and the invaluable contributions of Idahoans to our region, nation, and world. It is further resolved that the City of Star commemorates the 250th anniversary of the establishment of the United States as an independent nation. The City of Star authorized the appointment of an individual committee to oversee local projects and efforts to support this commemoration that will promote the maximum involvement of our residents, neighborhoods, businesses, schools, civic organizations, and institutions in the commemorations. And the City of Star further urges all its residents to reflect upon the significance of this event and the role that our state and its people have played in the history and development of our nation, and to participate in this important commemoration, endeavoring to include the stories of all those whose lives are part of the history of what we now know as Idaho, and understanding that the revolution continues today as we uphold the revolutionary ideals articulated in our founding documents, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the America 250 and Idaho Task Force, adopted by the City of Star on this first day of July, 2025. So the America 250 is a great occasion for us. We are actually, as a city, going to be doing a time capsule for the America 250 next year that will be slated to be open on the 300th birthday. And so any of our citizens in Star we're going to request that you participate and put stuff in that time capsule. And it's going to be very interesting, only because we are we're a unique city with a high blend of locals and people that have moved in over the last 5 years, which is pretty incredible, right? And we all believe in the same, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, and it's going to be a crazy, so you think this year is good and last year is good, fireworks next year is going to be insane, right? I just want to tell you that. And Dana cries every time I say that. So thank you so much. That's the proclamation. And we will move on to item 5, the consent agenda.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman?
I move to approve the consent agenda consisting of 5A, approval of claims, 5B, approval of minutes for June 17th, 2025, 5C, approval of minutes for June 24th, 2025 budget workshop, 5D, Star River Crossing rezone and development agreement, findings of fact, conclusions of law, 5E, Jeremy and Sabrina Newberry, annexation and zoning and development agreement, findings of fact, conclusion of law, and 5F, Clear Sky Therapy Center, conditional use permit, findings of fact, conclusions of law.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Solomon and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Solomonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6, which is our public hearing. And, I think this is probably the best night to be in a public hearing where it's cool in City Hall instead of outside in the heat, right? So we'll have some fun tonight. Already did. That was me, did Jerry. Yeah. So land use, on the back of our agenda is our land use public hearing rules. And I'm just going to read them just for those that haven't been part of that. So that you have to sign up to speak if you choose to speak. I encourage you to sign up even if you don't want to speak, just so you are a person of record on the hearing. I will open the public hearing and ask the council if they have any ex parte contact or communication regarding the project. Then the staff is going to present the application. The applicant will have up to 20 minutes to present their project. The council can ask the applicant and staff questions during that time. We will then have public testimony, which is 3 minutes per person. The applicant have a rebuttal of 10 minutes. The council can ask the applicant Oh, I'm sorry. The council may ask the individual that's, the public testimony, follow-up question does not count towards their 3 minutes. Applicant will have a 10-minute rebuttal. Council can ask the applicant staff and questions. I will close the public hearing. The council will deliberate. There'll be a motion that's either going to be made to approve with conditions, deny, or table application to a date certain in the future. And it's very important that everybody understands only the person that's at the podium has the floor. All questions need to be asked up here. If you're asking an applicant questions, on the rebuttal, they'll respond to those questions. They're not going to answer your questions while you're up there. The 3 minutes is going to be up here on the wall, right, Ryan? On that clock up there, or the 20 minutes or 10 minutes. And that's what we need to adhere to on that. All right. With that said, it is 7:11, and I'm going to open the public hearing and ask the council if they have any expert contact or communication regarding this project.
None.
No. No. No.
Hearing none, Sean, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Public hearing you have before you this evening is for the Milestone Ranch South subdivision, annexation and zoning, development agreement, and a preliminary plat. The applicant is requesting approval of the annexation, zoning, development agreement, preliminary plat for property located on the northwest corner of West Broken Arrow Street and North Milestone Way. Property being annexed is approximately 10 acres in size. The applicant is requesting 34 residential lots and 3 common lots. Zoning designation will change the property from RUT, which is the Ada County designation, to residential R4, which is the city designation. Proposed density of the property is 3.4 dwelling units per acre. All application requirements, including your submittal requirements, agency transmittals, legal notification, and site posting, have all been completed per the requirements of the Unified Development Code. The application has been reviewed for compliance with the Unified Development Code and the City Comprehensive Plan. Comprehensive Plan designates this property as neighborhood residential with a 3 to 5 dwelling unit per acre density allowance. You do have one late exhibit that I provided to you this afternoon via email, and it's also in front of you. And there's also a late exhibit that neighbors and the tenants tonight have given to all of you, including the city clerk and the applicant. There are no special items of consideration, and staff is recommending approval of this application with conditions of approval that are attached to your staff report. And again, for reference, property is located on the north side of West Broken Arrow Street, adjacent to the existing Milestone subdivision, west of Highway 16. The applicant has provided information, including this layout, which shows the lot configuration and the open space configurations. Staff will stand for any questions.
All right. Any questions of staff at this time? Okay. Hearing none. Kyle, are you presenting tonight? All right. Oh, and I forgot to say one thing. If you're coming up here to present, you need to also state your name and address, please, for the record. All right. So, Mr. Kyle, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. My name is Kyle Pruitt. I am the Land Entitlement Manager for Toll Brothers here in Idaho. Our address is 3103. That is, sorry, I just noticed that this looks like the old presentation from Milepost Commons. So I'm not sure if I gave you a bad USB. That's one. Oh, hey, Ryan, I apologize. This is the bad. I had to. So this is the good. Yeah, or unless you handed that one back to me, so I'm not sure. Yeah, that's from the one you guys saw in 2023. That was Milepost Commons. Or Milepost Commons. But I'll finish my address for the record: 3103 West Sherrill Drive, Meridian, Idaho 83642. Okay. I had emailed you an earlier version. I apologize. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's on me. Apologies. There's some technical difficulties on my end. Was that? It's saved on our stuff. There we go. Apologies for that. All right. Would you like me to say my name?
No, you're good. We got it. We got it.
Well, again, apologies for that miscommunication on my end. I will take blame for that one. Tonight, I am presenting Milestone Ranch South subdivision, located adjacent to the existing Milestone Ranch subdivision, and very close nearby also to Milepost Commons, which has been essentially annexed into the Milestone Ranch subdivision into the same HOA. As Sean mentioned, we are hoping to ask your approval for a preliminary plat, annexation and zoning and development agreement. This is a vicinity map showing we are just to the northwest of Highway 16 and Broken Arrow Street. Based on the future land use map, we are located in the neighborhood residential future land use designation. We are coming in at approximately 3.4 units per acre. So we are at that lower end of the allowed residential units per acre density shown within this future land use map. The zoning map, as you can see on this slide, this land use map shows that we are kind of a little enclave right now within county zoning. We're surrounded on the north, south, east, and west, essentially, by a range of R3, R5, and we're requesting an R4 zoning designation for this project. As I stated, we're requesting an R4. I guess this would be R4-DA. Our density is 3.4. We have a minimum lot size coming in just under 7,000 square feet. Our average is approximately 7,500 square feet. And this is some of our dimensional and setback requirements as shown in the R4 zoning designation. Our common open space, we're coming in at approximately 2.5 acres or 25%. And our usable open space, we're coming in at approximately 2 acres, which is right there at approximately 20%. So that's approximately double of what is required of us within this zoning designation. And I just wanted to confirm the required and the proposed setbacks. We are meeting all required setbacks. We're not asking for any variances or deviations from what is established within Star City Code, which differs from the rest of Milepost throughout Milestone and Milepost, where at least the rear setback is 10, and in certain areas of Milestone, it is a 5-foot side yard setback. With this one, we're coming in with a standard 7.5 and 15 foot for the rear. For the site amenity, we are proposing, and again, I can go back one. The site amenity will be located in the northeast portion. Oh, come on. There we go. We're proposing the site amenity to be located in the northeast portion because it's a relatively small area. We are proposing a fire pit for this area, and we want it to be a nice spot where people can still gather. It'll be a decent size. We would like to have some sort of raised seating so that it's not just a one-off. We'd like it to be a spot where people can gather with a fair amount of people. The landscape plan, I would like to preface this as well. We did unintentionally and incorrectly call out that some of the fencing, we had called it out as 5-foot wrought iron open vision in some of these areas. That wouldn't mesh well with the rest of the project. That was supposed to be either the 6-foot privacy full vinyl, and then along the areas with the pathways, we would have that be, especially in these areas here, we would have that be the 6-foot open slat. So it would be 4 foot of vinyl with the 2 foot of slat kind of wrought iron look. So that would match what is throughout the rest of the community. The only area really in this whole project where we have the 5-foot wrought iron is in Milepost Commons, where it's going to kind of look down over the future West Ada site. I'm not sure if they're going to do sports fields or school. I think the last plans we'd heard it would be sports fields. So that's really the only area throughout the whole community where we're going to have that 5-foot wrought iron. So just wanted to correct that there for you. And again, wanted to show we have a 40-foot landscape buffer from Broken Arrow. So we have a pretty good buffer there, and the pathway along Broken Arrow that will match the width. It'll be 7 feet. So that's what matches across the street to the east of what's shown in the rest of Milestone. And then we will have a little pathway that'll loop down and then back north as we go to the western portion of the project. Project timeline. If you guys are gracious enough to grant us our approval tonight, we are looking at site grading starting next spring in March, plat recording sometime next fall, and then first closings coming sometime in winter, early 2027. That's our approximate timeline that we're looking at right now. Right now, we are proposing for this site to have our orchard collection, which features 3 floor plans. One of the floor plans within this collection, I can scroll through them really quickly. We do have a bonus room, and essentially that bonus room, it's literally one room. It's essentially like a loft. From the front, it does look like a 2-story home, but there is no back windows. And again, it's one room. There's no second bedroom upstairs. I don't even think there's a door. I think some of them come with a sliding closet, but there's no bathroom upstairs or anything like that. It's essentially just a loft. And only one of the floor plans. And I did want to go over some of those miscellaneous items that you guys may have questions on, where I did note that the Ellery does offer that bonus room with no rear-facing windows. Some of those folks who may have some concerns, they don't want those people looking out that back window down at their backyard. Again, those homes will not have that back window. Confirming that the pathway along Broken Arrow will be 7 foot, and then the rest of the internal pathways will be 5. We are proposing that these homes be annexed into the existing Milestone Ranch HOA so that they will have access to the full Milestone Ranch amenities, and vice versa. Those folks who live in Milestone Ranch and Milepost can come down and use the fire pit. And then they can also contribute to that HOA. I did want to confirm as well that along the northern boundary where those existing homes are off of Pickett Creek, we are going to match grading. Those homes on Pickett Creek and the homes on the northern portion of Milestone South, they're not going to be overlooking each other. That's going to be matching grade with level homes in that area. So I just want to confirm that. There are 3 grain silos located on site. If the city would like them, we would like to give them to the city if we can coordinate getting those off site, but whatever you guys would like to do with them, we'd like to offer that up. During our neighborhood meeting, we did have some, confusion or just wanted clarification regarding lots throughout. Hey, Milestone was this, and then you added Milepost Commons. I did want to add that, just clarify, kind of get a total. Milestone was approved for 284 back in 2022. We've recorded every single phase, and that one came out to 282. Milepost Commons was approved in 2023 or early 2024. It was approved for 72. After some redesign, we had to drop that down to 58. So we lost a pretty significant amount of lots there. And then with Milestone South, the total essentially for what would end up being within the Milestone Ranch HOA essentially would be 374. And I will stand for any questions that folks may have.
Any questions of the applicant at this time? Councilman Nielsen?
Mayor Chadwick, thank you. So on was it the Ellery, the home with the second level, the
Yes, sir.
bonus? Couldn't tell from the picture, the roof line is on that bonus room. Is it higher than the garage, equal to the garage?
I believe that'll be, oh goodness, I believe that'll be higher than the garage. I think it'll still come down under the required, we won't be breaking code in any way, shape or form for the height, but I believe it will come in higher than the garage.
So as you look at the back,
Yes, sir.
the main ridge line of the house as well, then it would necessarily be higher than the ridge line
I did.
also, right?
Yeah, I would have to get with our internal architecture folks to double check that for you. I can get that information. I don't believe it would be significantly higher, but that's something I would have to confirm for you. I just don't know that 100%
Yeah, I
for
would
you.
agree. It doesn't look like it could be, but it also looks like it may be
Yes.
the same elevation.
Mhm. I would have to confirm. Unfortunately, I don't have that exact information
Okay.
for you. I apologize.
Thank you.
Don't want to tell you yes when I don't have it 100%.
Okay, anything further, Councilman? Okay, anybody else have questions right now? Councilwoman?
Mayor Chadwick, So regarding the pathways proposed here, so in Milestone Ranch, are those, do they have a public easement now? Or, I mean, or are they, maybe Sean would know this, are they open to the public or is it just really internal?
All common spaces are owned and maintained by the HOA, and there's that assumption that the community isn't gated. So the public
It's
can come and
open.
go as they please. So it is open. We don't have any provisions to come in and kick folks off the pathways per se, but those pathways are owned and maintained by the HOA.
Okay, and then, so the milepost, those residents would be able to use like this amenity and these pathways?
That is correct. Yes, because the milepost folks are set for all intents and purposes a part of Milestone Ranch. They were annexed into the HOA as well. So again, milepost will have bocce ball courts, picnic areas that everyone would be able to go and use as well.
Yep,
Like
okay.
cross use of that. Yeah.
All right. And then regarding the fencing, so just to make sure that I caught it.
Yes.
So you're going to match what's in milepost?
Yes, essentially, we will match what's in mileposts where any of those, it'll be majority 6-foot privacy vinyl, and then any backyard fencing that's up against like the pathways. So in this area here, we would have the 6-foot where 4-foot is vinyl and then 2-foot is slat, kind of wrought iron looking at the top portion.
Okay.
And we owe Sean a full fencing plan that we can get to him, and that'll kind of show everything.
All right. And then did you see that neighborhood or the neighbor letter?
Yes, I did. They did hand it off to me right before. I have been able to take a look at it. So I have seen it. I think we may need some time to kind of digest some of those changes to see because the biggest thing is making it work for the product. There's certain things where footprint that we need to adhere to, or else the product just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's why we would need to have really kind of take a look at that and see. We feel like we've done the most practical and efficient use of space while still offering, we're still offering double the amount of required open space. So we feel what we've provided we still think it's the best option. But we would still have to digest some of those changes that were proposed to us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions from this council at this time? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the public testimony side of this. I have Mr. Gary Arston. And please state your name and address, sir, for the record.
My name's Gary Arfston. I live at 8739 West Pickett Creek in Star.
Go ahead.
Okay,
We'll time it on my little phone.
okay. First of all, I want to thank you, Mayor, and the council people for taking the time to listen to us. The letter that I gave to you follows up with a list of homeowners, and all of the people that had signed that list, those homes on West Pickett back up to the development that they're proposing. So this letter acknowledges the above homeowners received the June 4th letter from Sean Nichols advising us of the proposed application by Toll Brothers to build an additional 34 homes with 3 common lots on the 10 acres south of our backyard properties. While we acknowledge progress, we would like the council and planning director to hear our plea and our suggestions for your review and consideration. First and foremost, we were told when we purchased our homes that the 10 acres behind our backyard property line were owned by Zamzows and that they had no intention of ever selling. So we were all very displeased when Toll Brothers made the announcement at the subdivision meeting a couple of months ago in our clubhouse. Several of us would not have purchased our current homes on West Pickett Street had we known about this. The current plat map that Toll Brothers has submitted has homes backyard butting right up to our backyard. Fences and a higher elevation. I know they said that they were going to grade down, but even with if it's a level grade, you can look right into the homes that are behind you. So the privacy is out the door. Toll Brothers claim to be building luxury homes, however, having no privacy in our line is not in our line with luxury living. As mentioned earlier, we know we can't stop progress, but we would like for you to review the 2 plat maps that we are submitting as an alternative that would be a win-win situation for both parties. In our current subdivision, we have 20-foot walkways and green belts. You can see attachment A, separating our homes with a large 68-foot walkway and green belt That's in front of the clubhouse entrance leading to the homes that will be bordering to the River Ranch Golf Course, and that's going to be attachment B. In their proposed plat map, they show a 40-foot green belt, which is attachment C, on Broken Arrow as you enter the Milestone Ranch entrance. This has a 64 to 99-foot walkway green belt, which is attachment C down the middle of the new phase of the 34 homes in our subdivision on Milestone Way. It will be totally disproportionate to the rest of our subdivision with a huge amount of wasted space. In our two proposed plat maps, which is attachment D, we are simply asking for a 20 to 30-foot walkway greenbelt or buffer zone behind our fences to give us a little separation, privacy, and to conform throughout with our current Milestone Ranch landscaping. They have more than enough room to take 20 feet from their 64 to 99-foot walkway greenbelt to separate us on West Pickett Creek Street, and would still have 44 to 79 feet for a beautiful walkway and greenbelt. We are asking that you simply put yourselves in our place, and would you be happy with their proposed plat map or one of the two that we are submitting, which would keep our 55 and older community uniform, beautiful, and most importantly, happy residents, both with current ones and future ones. Like we mentioned above, it would be a win-win for both parties. I want to thank you for your time and consideration for hearing my thoughts.
Did you practice that? Because that was almost 3 minutes exactly. It's over. Any questions of council right now for Mr. Gary?
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I just have one.
Councilman
It's,
Hershey?
Hate to ask, but who told you the land was owned by Zamzows and they never developed? Who said that?
They never said that it would never be developed. That
Well, it sounded like,
it most likely would.
but who said it?
All of the sales reps told all of the people that live on West Pickett.
That's why I was afraid of sales reps, right? Yeah, they don't represent us, they represent their bottom line. That's a shame. That's happened before. I've heard that before and I get tired
I
of
do want to clarify, they didn't say never, so due diligence, I understand, is on our part. What we're looking for, and I think if they looked at putting a buffer zone behind the homes that back up to West Pickett Creek, it would be an easier sell for Toll Brothers. If you're looking to buy a home and you're looking at a house that's butting right up to the house behind, I think it would be easier to sell it if we're got back there. And we're looking at the green spaces for people walking their dogs, just the continuity of having a walkway on our side as opposed, and in one of the diagrams, it's kind of uniformed on both sides. I just think it would be better for the community. And yes, we're looking at it from a personal perspective, but
of course.
I think it would be a better situation for the community.
All right, well, thank you for that.
Okay. You have a question, Councilman Wheelock? Oh, I thought you grabbed your microphone. Anybody else got a question?
Me,
You guys got questions for him before I sit him down? Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, let's see. We got Bob and Mira White. Which one wants to speak, or do you both want to speak? Are you going to point, you going to make him speak? You got to come up here though first to state your name and address though.
Bob White, 8681 West Pickett Creek Street, Star. And if you could leave that up there for a second, what we're saying is really just common sense. And I might say that all the people that are here tonight are the people that live on West Pickett Creek streets. With due respect to the council members and the size of the room, we had over 100 others of people that belong to our clubhouse. Lori's here tonight, I see, and she doesn't live on Pickett Creek, but she's one of the ones that also we didn't care for the diagram that was up. Could you put the one that was up there just a second ago? So one of the things, may I approach that?
No, there's a little clicker there that you can point at that because we have to have you on the microphone.
Thank you. Okay, okay. So one of the things that, I'm sorry, what was your name again? Kyle. That Kyle said was that the grading would be level. I kind of find that hard to believe because right now we back up to that empty lot And that lot is approximately 15 inches higher than what our fence line is, because we have the gravel coming from our fence lines over here. We're on this side here, and it's coming down, and that's 15 inches down from the top of the fence. So they would have to be cutting into that property to make it level. It's just, you couldn't do that. But the point is what we're really trying to say is what not just the people on Picket Creek, but other people are saying in the drawing and the photographs that we gave to you. The two important ones is the ones that show our typical greenbelt walkway slash that goes throughout the neighborhood, and everything's uniform, and they are 20 feet wide. And you can see by the pictures that we've submitted to you that they have a 5-foot walkway with approximately 7 to 8 feet on each side. I need that photo still up there. Yeah. So the only other one throughout the entire subdivision we have right now, as Gary mentioned, is in front of the clubhouse facing River Birch Golf Course. There is a huge walkway there, and that's only 68 feet. We've done all the measurements. So all we're saying is that they're putting in a 99-foot green belt here, and at the narrowest point is 64 feet still. And that's all we're trying to say is that if you even just took the top, this portion, and scrunched it by 20 feet down, they would not be losing anything to any of the homeowners, any of the property lines, none of the footage from width and length of the lots. All they would be sacrificing is 20 feet of this humongous walkway here that's larger by far, a third larger than the one that goes to River Birch Golf Course. So in our opinion, of course, we're just saying that what can it hurt to just shrink your almost 100-foot walkway down to 70, and you're still bigger than the one that goes to River Birch.
Okay.
So we just wanted to point that out to you in case,
All right.
in case those pictures didn't tell the full story.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Bob?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
Sean, could you drag that other picture over that you keep trying to put on? Well, I appreciate your explanation because that helped me see a little bit better what you guys were talking about in the letter.
Yeah.
But as this picture came over and I'm contemplating what you guys are presenting, what I'm looking at here is an existing subdivision where nearly all of the homes have homes that back up to them. All of the lots are adjacent, right? And one of the main points that you guys are making is consistency. And I know you're talking about consistency in green belts, maybe the width of those green areas, but when you're talking about consistency of a subdivision, like they're not introducing a new concept. In fact, except for most of you here tonight, most of the people in your neighborhood have backyard homes adjacent to them, as according to the.
Well, so this, Kevin, right here, these are green belts. So all the way down, it's like it skips a block and then goes to a green belt.
Oh, I understand there's some in there, but you go up top a little bit, you go along the sides here.
Yeah, with all due respect,
All
what
right.
it doesn't,
No, I mean, I'm just pointing out facts. I'm not making a point. I'm just pointing out facts.
yeah,
Right.
well, here's the fact.
So I'm trying to
Sorry, go-
understand.
Hang on a sec.
Sorry, I'm trying to understand if you're looking for consistency or if you're just looking for preference.
No, we're looking for consistency, and what you don't see on a flat map like that, and the why some of the houses are back to back, is there different levels, and Toll Brothers has provided those homes with anywhere from 1 foot to 4 foot high boulder rocks, like the homes, and you don't see that on there. No,
And so do those homes look down into
Your-
the yards of other homes then?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
hang on. What?
Just Bob.
I'm sorry.
Right.
So I'm
Well,
just-
you guys have got to remember, only
Talk.
Bob has the floor right now. Nobody else in the audience can answer any of the questions.
Correct.
So your recommendation then is to put a 20-foot wide buffer right here. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's what you're
It's
asking
like
for?
the pictures you see where they They come down from the sides, you have a 5-foot walkway and they're 20 feet, and that's all we're asking for. Instead of having this massive 99-foot walkway, green belt, when you enter into our facility there, and there is nothing like it throughout the rest of the facility. Everything else is.
Is this road right here constructed?
Yes.
So ACHD is not going to allow that road to move.
No, but I think, Kevin, and I'm just going to talk this through real
Yeah,
quick
go
with
for
you.
it.
They can allow it to drop down more, another 20 feet to come down. I think what they're talking is just shifting 20 feet off of this and putting it here and coming in and not losing any lots.
And you think ACHD will allow that to come down 20 feet? And
Well, I'm not
nine-
saying moving this, I'm saying the bend comes down, like you follow it similar and
Okay, I
drop it
got
down
it.
20 feet, right?
I got it.
And then when you have the walkway path that's right there, it'd be almost be consistent across when you look at all that, all the way up, right? It's pretty, I mean, I think there's two things, consistency and preference. I think it kind of combines both on there, right?
Thank you.
So.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to jump into the middle of this conversation too. Because if you move that down, does that walkway just go to a dead end?
Which one?
The one that they're trying to create?
No, if you look at I think what they're looking at, if you look at they took the drawing right here, and put the walkway in. What they're looking at is, from what I see on here, is the walkway would come here and come down this way. And then somewhere in here, you would condense and add another lot to make up for the missing lot. Well, but you can see, but the way they show it is 34 homes still. Whether that works or not, I don't know. That's up to
Yeah.
Kyle and them to tell us if that'll work on there.
Yeah, we did not lose any lots for you. It's just that our drawings are hand drawings compared to your professional ones here, though. But what we tried to do, not only to have that, is that when you're coming into the entrance of Milestone Ranch, which I'm not even sure if anyone, including us, has said is a 55 and older community. This isn't just a subdivision, it's 55 and older. So when you come in here, this is what you're going to see. Well, when you see the clubhouse with the, can you put that other slide up that we were trying to get rid of there for a while? Anyway, yeah, okay, thank you. So this is their proposal, and this is 40 feet wide, okay? 99 there and 64 there, and then nothing across the top here. And like the mayor said, is they would only be sacrificing 20 feet and still have a greenbelt walkway pathway that is wider than the one going to River Birch. And the way we drew it on the drawings for you, by hand, of course, shows that we came down here to try to be conform to what they have here. And that's why it comes down and then in here. So it allows people, this is not a walkway. This is strictly the entrance with trees or what have you, like most subdivisions have. But this part is a walkway, and you would cross the street, and then of course you have this walkway. We're simply asking for the same type of walkway. It comes down here, only 20 feet, comes down through this lot line and joins. So then you have a full circle, so to speak, and you're only giving up 20 feet. That's all we're trying to say. Did that help clarify it a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions?
Any other questions for Mr. Bob? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And then we'll move on to Miss Lori. You need to give, I just want to clarify something too before she starts. So on the elevation thing, Bob, that you were talking about, they said that they're going to lower that down. So that means they're going to take material out. Even though it might be 15 inches higher, it's going to be built into our agreement, no matter how it is, that they have to bring it down to the same level. So it can be done, right? So that's not a challenge there. It's just extra material that goes somewhere else. Okay, state your name, Miss Lori, and address for the record, please.
Lori Balad, 8582 West Stillmore Street.
All right.
So when my husband and I toured Regency at Milestone Ranch by Toll Brothers in May 2024, we were enamored with the beautiful homes that we saw. However, today we are disappointed because we are living in a fishbowl and will have to come up with thousands of dollars to provide bedroom and back porch privacy. On our sales tour, we saw homes on Oakman, which had boulders below the fence line to provide privacy similar to the models. The other available sites had a pathway behind them and very little privacy. We specifically requested an Ava lot with privacy. Instead, we got a bait and switch situation. Since Toll Brothers did not provide any privacy wall as reasonably expected and seen on our tour, and nothing was also said about the discrepancy of the height and elevation of the two homes on the entire block and others as well. We requested the fence line to be raised by either boulders like the models or to replace the 5-foot fence with a 6-foot fence. We were declined. Toll Brothers did, however, agree to change the fence because it was stalled incorrectly like this. Go ahead and watch. 2.5 feet down at an angle. So they had to raise it up 2.5 feet on the one side. However, that did nothing to mitigate the, as you can see, being in a fishbowl. Furthermore, Toll Brothers and other developers are overlooking safety concerns for profit. Each home should be have a designated parking spot on the street for emergency access. Currently, on many of the streets, there might be one parking spot for 4 homes. Additionally, the fire department recommends a 10-foot interior side setback to ensure critical access during emergencies. Here, they are only doing 7.5, which I know is required, but I would petition them to do the 10 for security reasons and safety. Changing city guidelines to require 6-foot minimum fence lines between houses and a parking spot for each home for emergencies is a reasonable request and not asking for too much. As members of the Star City Council, you are tasked with representing our community. You are the gatekeepers protecting the well-being of its citizens. Please continue to prioritize the constituents' interests and mandate a change in policies to ensure a safer environment in Star. Let a community-minded, people-first approach continue to guide Star development on our developers over developers' avarice. And I do have suggestions and would be open and actually glad to answer questions regarding the slides because that is not a part of this, but I do have options.
Okay. Questions? Councilman?
Mayor Chadwick. Help me understand street parking for emergencies. I don't follow that. Why would you need a street parking lot for an emergency?
Well, what about if there's a fire truck and an emergency vehicle? There's usually more than one vehicle that applies. And if there's only one parking spot for
You're
4
talking about
houses,
just room for a fire truck to get in there?
both. Why in this day and age is there only one parking spot for multiple houses? That's unacceptable.
Well, I don't,
That's the
okay,
part I'm
so,
not following.
yeah, we don't understand that. Are you talking
Okay.
on-street parking?
On-street parking.
Okay, so the on-street parking is the width of the lot, right? These streets and, yes, it is. On-street parking is the width of the lot. So anybody can park in the front of that house on those. There's no parking signs out there in the front.
I would please encourage you to come out tomorrow because next to my house, the garage, you're saying I can't. Okay. The garage, okay. Can you go back to the other house where I can show you? I can guarantee that that's not true.
Well,
Because I live next door to a
I
house
understand.
that has no parking spot.
But,
And the
but
house
we
next
don't
to
we
it
don't have
has no parking
sorry,
spot.
we don't have parking spots on any of our streets. Like there's no designated parking.
Okay, not a designated, just an area to, okay, not saying, okay, this is your house. I'm saying there should be room to park a car in front of the house. If you go, I live in the house, let's see, right, where is that? I'm not seeing it. There's a new development. You don't have it up high enough.
No,
You
it's
don't.
yours is up higher than that, yeah.
Okay, I live in the house right here on the corner. The 3 houses next to me do not have any available parking on the street in front of their houses. How is that possible?
Is that because of the width of their driveway or?
Because the way, I should show you the way that I'm saying we're community-ended or community-minded housing. They are building houses that are garage front, like there's houses that don't even have a front door. Seriously, you have to walk down the side to
But
get
it's
to
a
the front
style.
door.
I,
But because of that, there is no room to park a car in front of their house.
so I'm just gonna,
Impossible.
okay, but I just want, these are public streets. No matter what, people like it or not. People can park anywhere in that neighborhood on the public street in front of somebody else's house.
For
I
instance.
understand that, Lori, though, but
But they've also made it so that there's no parking on a lot of these.
that's a,
Like
that's.
this is a no parking on this side.
okay,
This side is a one street, a one car only lane. You called it an elbow when I came to talk to you. That you cannot even get one car on because this and this are elbows. They're not even a regular street.
Okay, so understand this. Those two streets that you're talking about right here are considered collectors. There is no on-street parking on collectors, typically.
Right, and
Okay,
I'm not
that's-
asking for that.
Well, but that's the way it is. That's how that's designed. These streets would have parking. There's going to be certain areas that you can't park on for the radius for fire trucks. Every street in this subdivision is 36 foot wide.
I'm telling you-
36 foot wide. Just hear me out here. 36 foot wide is the widest streets in this county in the city of Star. That's what we require.
But
You
it's a
can park on,
garage.
you can park on both sides and still get a fire truck through there.
It's a garage. You don't have a parking spot. You have
I
a
understand.
garage spot.
Okay,
It's not a parking spot.
but do you have a spot to park in the driveway?
So when you're having, okay, I know that's not emergency. It's not too much to request. This is, okay, I was not going to go here. The developers are making plenty of money.
But
They can, no, I'm going to finish this time, please.
but
they-
you can finish,
please.
Ms. Lori, we're gonna, because you and I are
Please.
friends, and we're gonna
know.
have a conversation about this.
They have plenty of money to put a parking spot in front of each house. There is none because you might have a house that ends here.
Yeah, talk in the
and it's
microphone
all
though.
Garage, and we have a spot right here. So right here, I have a spot for one car. Then it's garage, then it's all garage again, and then it's a big bump.
You got to talk in the microphone.
And then it's a big bump. Okay, so I've got grass for a parking spot. I have all garage, no parking spot for that house. Then there is a big, if you notice on that other one, a big loop that comes in where you cannot park. And then another house where there's a garage and there's no parking. And then a house at the very end. So that whole street, and there is no parking on the collector, like you said. So what they've done is they've got too many houses because what I'm getting at, or maybe not security, but the well-being, I've come to these meetings and we talk about Star and community. We don't even put gates anymore because we want it to be community, but we can't have one parking spot per house. That's not too much to ask. That would be considered greed on their part of Toll Brothers because they have the money to be able to afford to give everybody a parking spot in front of their house. Also, they have the money to be able to put 10-foot interior side buffers. They don't have to do the 7.5.
Okay, but so our code only says 7.5.
know.
We can't force them to do 10.
I'm asking.
We can't force them to do it.
No, I know.
You can ask them, but the city cannot force them if the code is 7.5.
Agreed,
But I will
understood.
tell you, so if you look at the development, the preliminary plat on this new one, there's 60-foot wide lots. Bigger lots, I think, than what you're talking about.
It's what I have.
So 60 foot with a 20-foot garage driveway and a 20-foot garage, 22 gives you 40 feet to park.
That I would have to see on the map because when I came here, it was unknown to me that they were going to be the whatever lots.
And-
So when I wrote this not knowing that there would be the, what lots are they? The orchard lots. I assumed that the lots were going to be mixed. So if there's a parking spot because they're all orchard, I am all fine with that. What my premise was going on a mixed lot like we have in the other places.
No, the preliminary plat is a 60-foot wide lot. On your corners, you're going to have deeper driveways. like you typically see, which means you have more parking on the driveway.
And I'm not actually asking this just for Toll Brothers, to be honest. I don't really, this is not going to affect where I live at all. What I'm asking for is for the future of Star, not just for Toll Brothers. I'm saying, as a policy, I am asking the city council in the future, not today, to change the guidelines so that every house, when you're looking through the plans, should be entitled to at least one street parking.
You know, I really appreciate you bringing it up.
And
You haven't been to meetings long enough to know how much I've fought for 10-foot or even greater setbacks on the sides.
I've heard.
But this is the first time that I've heard about, not being able to park out in front of because the driveways take it all up. And look, when the public hearing's over, whenever that might be, I am going to drive up and take a look at it because that seems like a unique situation here in town. So I appreciate you bringing that awareness.
Okay.
And I just fully support them just moving. It seems very reasonable what the residents are asking on Pickett, just to move the walkway over. Again, that seems very, very reasonable and something that Toll Brothers could do.
Okay. Any further questions for Ms. Laurie?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So it was discussed, I think you brought up the boulders.
Yes.
So
You'll,
on here, is this bottom picture?
okay, I put on the top. Okay, so that is when we went to go look at the things. We also went back afterwards. This is the reverse view of when somebody looks at my house, that's what they should see. This is the back of the model, my model, the Ava. Now, this is from I'm standing in my den, not even outside. I'm standing in the den in the bottom one, and you can see, I can see 3/4 of the window. I didn't include the picture where I should have, because I ran out of ink, where I had my neighbor at nighttime and I thought out of respect, you could see him across in his kitchen in another one, and you could see from here up in his kitchen. And I thought, the next one is the dining room. You can see on the top picture, that is the model. You can see that the fence line goes 3/4 up of the way. See, what I'm getting at is I don't trust Toll Brothers to do as they say. They have already shown that you have to be on them and that they're not trustworthy. You look at the picture here of my kitchen. Again, you see 3/4 of the window, unlike the model that they showed us. You look at the picture right here in the front foyer, you can see I'm standing in the exact same place. You can see a fence almost all the way up to the top of the picture or of the window frame. Again, you look at the picture down below, even from my entryway door, I can see 3/4 of the window. Now, I only have, and then on the next one, this is the den. Again, you can see the fence with the rocks as they showed it, all the models and all the existing homes. All of the existing homes had that. And the homes that didn't were on the area that had a walkway. And the walkway, that was a different situation. We said we didn't want those because of no privacy. Again, you can see. Now, okay, I was late because I ran out of printer. I didn't show you the picture one. I ended up, okay, TMI, running out because my printer stopped and I couldn't get it going, and I'm getting ready. So here I am in my bra and underwear, running across the house, and in times of morning, I cannot open up my window in my own bedroom. That's how upset I am. I bought a house and I'm living in a freaking fishbowl. And you can see it documented here with facts, not emotion like I'm getting now. And do you see why these people don't trust Toll Brothers to do it correctly? Because they've already lied to us. And then when they said, Kenny, who's a nice guy, said, well, the fence is low, it was done incorrectly, so we'll do that. He raised up this sick thing saying, well, it should take care of it, right? And go at least halfway. So we're like, okay, fine, because we held off signing the papers. And they finally said, you have 1 more week to sign the papers. Otherwise, we're going to have to put the house back up for sale. So we go ahead. He does that. he holds it up and he says that should cover about half, him and his supervisor. We said, okay, fine. We signed the paper. What happens? You guys know, the mayor knows because I've talked to him personally about this. We go in there and I'm like, holy crap, I just gave them all my money. I just signed the signature and I am stuck now with a fishbowl. And they easily could have remedied this beforehand. They could have easily, instead of just taking out the fence and just raising it up because they didn't even put in properly. We won't even get into where my roof needs replaced and all the other problems. I will just stick to what we are talking about now because there are so many multiple problems on this house that we are probably going to need the entire roof. Okay, I know, sorry.
No, we got to stick to the project though at hand.
Yes, I
right?
know. So I will get back to that. So anyway, they could have put the boulders like we asked and raised it up. No big deal. They could have done that. Did they do it? No. We asked them to put up a higher fence. Could they have done a higher fence? I didn't put this in there because I thought I only had 2 minutes, not 3. I had a picture and a thing and I took it out. They said no, because the house on the main corridor street, the fence has to be equal and parallel and that you can't go up. And thank you, Dana. They said it had to be exactly, even and parallel. Well, if you go there now, guess what? On another street, they have one that goes up. They could have easily put a fence because when they upped ours, the house next to us, the fence goes down and then across again. And they said they couldn't do that because it was next to the street. Well, they've already done it next to the street now where the fence goes up and then above.
I'm gonna just, because I need to redirect this back to the public hearing.
Yes.
The fact that they're gonna be required to, because they've stated that they're gonna drop the elevation on that property down to 15 inches, that alleviates this issue then on this property.
And who's
it's-
going to be watching that?
The city engineer will. It's gonna be built into the development agreement and stuff, and the city engineer will be looking at that. He's sitting right back there in the corner, by the way.
Okay. So we will, okay.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, I have very lack of trust for
I
them.
understand, but I just gotta, I
Get it?
I'm not trying to discount what you're saying. I just gotta keep this focused on this public hearing right here.
Yes.
Right? And so if the challenge with the elevation is going to be alleviated here because it's going to be brought down on that.
As
That's
long
gonna-
as they do it.
Well, it will get done because it's being in the development agreement. Obviously, it's out there now and like this and Ryan's back there watching and listening to this stuff on there. So
Well, now that people are aware, that's why I knew
Yeah.
at this meeting, I knew I would be emotional and I apologize.
and you're okay.
Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I knew that this did not affect me directly, this decision and how they do the houses. But I felt the need for my friends that are sitting in the audience to have them protected. Because, and this has no reflection on Star, but people coming and moving in may not know what negotiations were going on and not know what we agreed on. And I don't trust Toll Brothers to keep their end
And-
unless they're,
So just understand, the most important thing is putting things in the development agreement.
You
It
know-
travels with the property and that's what we just got to build it into the development agreement.
yes, I
Okay.
appreciate that.
All right.
So,
Deep breaths.
yes, you always get to see me at the right times, huh?
You're all right. Fine. Very
So-
good. Appreciate it. Any more questions for Miss Lori?
No, thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Yeah, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other people that signed up that are not speaking, and they'll be part of the record on that. Kyle, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I can start again. I can try to reiterate as best as possible regarding this property for that northern boundary against those lots who are on the south side of Pickett Creek. Our grading plan on the preliminary plat shows, and we will adhere to it because again, Ryan Morgan is gonna keep us honest there that the grading plan the grading will match between those homes on Pickett Creek and the homes on the north side of Little Burn on this portion of the property. Regarding the pathway that those folks would like to see for the south side again, on the south side of Pickett Creek, on the north side of Lilburn. The tough part with the product fit for this, we have 60-foot wide lots. We have a home that's 45 feet wide. And when you try to make this design as efficient as possible, when it comes to trying to finagle things around, it makes it a little bit tough because as you pick those homes down on the north side of Lilburn, and then you have the kind of the cornered lot. I can kind of show here. Come on. So if we kick the homes down, especially with our 50, we're not asking for the reduction in the rear yard setback. It's going to be really tight. And when we kick the roadway down, whoop, I hope that wasn't me. No, no worries. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. When that roadway kicks down, we do create a flag lot, and Star doesn't allow flag lots. So we would lose lots there. And then as it kicks down, we're also kind of, depending on how much we would need for this pathway connection, these homes may need to get, moved down. And there's an 8-inch water line that connects to the pump station in Iron Mountain Estates right there. So we can't really move that home south, and we can't mess with the lot dimensions because all those lots are 60 feet wide with 7.5-foot setbacks. We have a 45-foot wide product. We can't move them, and we're not asking for a side yard setback reduction. We're adhering to the 7.5. So we have designed this as efficiently as we absolutely could. And so that's where we're kind of stuck. That's where, especially because that water line, we can't move here because we got to connect to that pump station. That water runs across the War Eagle and it runs south to Broken Arrow. And again, if we try to run a pathway here, any movement here, all of a sudden we're creating flag lots, which again the city doesn't allow. So we don't want to do that.
So let me ask you a question.
Sir.
I don't mean to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go back to that one, dude. You keep moving stuff on everybody. Yeah, this one. Holy cow. So what if we were to compromise here and grant you a side yard setback on a couple lots here, a waiver, in order to squeeze this in, so it doesn't impact that water line and whatnot on there, so that you can squeeze that in there and provide that pathway? Because I think that's a great solution and without really losing anything. And honestly, when you're worried, the other two ones, you've lost lots on that, even in your own redesign.
Yes.
On that, right? And so,
Yes,
I
we
mean,
have.
even if you had to lose one lot, I'm not sure if that's much of an issue necessarily. But if we were to grant you a side yard waiver on a couple lots right here on the corner to make sure that we can get that pathway in, I think it's a win-win for everybody on the whole project.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman,
Can I go one step further with
you
those?
can go however many steps you want to go.
So the rear setback along that north edge, what is the setback in mile proposed for the rear?
In Milestone, the folks on Pickett,
Milestone.
they're in Milestone Ranch proper, I guess
Sorry.
you could say. They are under the old DA, which allowed us 10, and these homes would be 15. So it would be 25 feet between homes throughout the rest. And a lot of you folks are correct. We kind of staggered it where there's no pathway here. Those homes are back to back. Those homes do have that 20-foot wide pathway. But the homes that are rear yard to rear yard are 20 feet. These folks would be 25, which 5 feet, not a big deal. It's still a 25% increase from what is present throughout most of the community. And I think the other aspect there is we're asking for a 15-foot rear yard setback. So depending on how much you guys would want to see for that pathway, how much we're kicking Lilburn down, how will ACHD react to that? We just don't know. We don't know how ACHD would want to see if we really bump that down. We're not sure how they would react or if they'd allow us to move it much. We just don't know how much wiggle room we have.
So we can ask.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Everything's negotiable,
that is very true.
right? So I mean, so are you saying to reduce the backyard setbacks? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
to
saying?
the.
Just
yeah,
on those right
yep,
there?
just those ones.
I mean, if there's a way that we can make that fit to where you get that green space and that pathway coming in there.
So then that would just shift it down 15 feet instead of 20. Right?
Or even just a little shift on the thing. I mean, you guys be open to that?
At the end of the day, obviously, we would like the project to occur. obviously, or else we wouldn't be here asking you.
Yeah, I,
Do you remember how hard we fought to have 7.5 foot setbacks in the other addition? And
And those are
I'm
the
not saying get
sides.
rid of all
I'm
of
so
them.
sorry.
Right.
I
Just the
apologize.
rear.
I was getting some feedback.
We're not saying get rid of all of them. It's
I'm
just,
just saying, we've
There's a lot.
recognized we're all compromising to try and get this path, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm sorry, I'm totally against the reduction, but I'm willing to look at both ends of the spectrum.
I think if we can make that work with the setbacks and ACHC is okay with the roadway getting kicked down. And again, if we need to move those rear yard setbacks on those homes on Lilburn, on the north side of Lilburn to 10, or if we need to get some of those side yard setbacks to 5, if we can make it work and ACHC is okay with it, I think that's something we would be open to.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
we've heard over and over again from our fire department that a 10-foot setback is the preferred setback for the side yard. And I know we're not deliberating here, but we're negotiating, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm not at all in favor of losing a side yard setback. If we want to negotiate a rear yard setback, I'm open to that. But I think you lose a couple of lots in here, and that makes everything a lot easier. The efficient, I understand that you're in business to do business, and the efficiency of the lot matters to you.
Mhm.
It matters a lot less to me. Because somebody can come in and put 5 homes on that property and come out well ahead in the bank. And you could do the same thing. You don't have to have 3.5 to 5 homes per acre. You could be requesting an annexation of 2 homes per acre and pencil that out maybe even better than you are right now.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of options. You've just brought a
Yes, sir.
plot to us and maybe you've got a limited ability to negotiate, but the efficiency thing doesn't matter to me at all.
Sure.
Yeah,
No.
when you're looking to come into the city of Star, we don't need homes with windows looking into each other's houses, right? And those narrow side yard setbacks are part of that problem. They're part of a fire problem. And we want people to move here and be happy that they moved here. And frankly, Toll Brothers builds a lot of homes. I've personally sat here and approved a lot of applications for Toll Brothers. And quite frankly, I get more complaints about Toll Brothers than a lot of others too. And so, look, that's not going to affect my decision here tonight. I'm going to make a decision based on the facts, but I just want you to know that is the experience. So.
Okay. Kyle?
That, I think trying to address, again, some of the grading issues and just want to inform you about the setback issues. Again, we tried to make this match the rest of the community as best as possible. That's what we felt we brought forward, but yes, we're open to making this work with you folks. Absolutely.
Okay. Any further questions
Not really a question.
for Kyle? Go ahead.
I'll just be blunt. I think you're going to have to lose a few lots. Plain and simple. That's the only way I can see it. Here's why. I fully understand the rights of an owner of a property. I fully understand the people that live around the property that's going to be affected. I tend to lean, I think I have 10 years of showing this, that the people that are living there do have a basic right to, even though, and I had a sales guy lie to me. So, it's why I asked. Yeah, that's not going to affect this decision, but I had that happen to me. And it wasn't Toll Brothers. But long story short, it's an annexation. You went in the city, you got to compromise. And I believe that the solution that's presenting is legitimate. I believe you still will pan out fine. Yes, it's going to cause some redrawing. However, I think it also will provide the olive branch that some of us need for this and some assurance that the others need. I believe if you just take back, you're going to lose a few lots, and I believe that's the way it's going. I'm just telling you that. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, I appreciate the fact that we have citizens that didn't just come out and just out say no, right? They put some effort into something to try to make it work for you and them, right? And I think that should take, and really without really making a ton of changes, for the most part in that. So I appreciate that as well. So anything else, Mr. Kyle, for you?
No, I don't believe so.
You guys have any more questions for Kyle? I'll be, once we close the public hearing, it's deliberation.
Yeah, my only comment or issue would be, you know, they had a good argument, a good presentation, to be right honest. Lowering that houses and skinnying up that center path is probably what changes the elevations for me or the design. And they don't understand the water line that I know is there as well, just from living in Star forever. So those challenges, I can see your side of the equation. I don't think it's going to cause that much effort to change the road down. It may be a lot, I think, but I don't think it's that big a change overall. I do like the side yards wider because I'd like more area between the houses, both for the fire and for Star in general. As the aesthetic, as I'm probably have the most side yard that is sitting here on the council, I appreciate a good side yard. So that's where I'm at.
Okay?
Mayor
I think
Tucker.
he's saying his side yard's bigger than your side yard.
I think that's true. Councilwoman?
Yeah, so before, I mean, I think you've heard that we definitely want to see some changes you know, I guess before you close the public hearing, if we want to table it, do you have to have an answer tonight?
Do we
Or-
need to table it or can we just approve it with conditions or let's make sure, Sean.
Yeah.
You can approve with conditions.
Yeah.
I'll just say I'm leaning to table.
Okay, I would be too. I'd like to see it again rather than approving it with conditions.
So see a preliminary plat is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I can support that.
I feel we can make the requested changes based on the feedback, personally, and I think we can, with conditions, that would be our preference, because I think we can adhere to these changes. Especially, again, we don't need we wouldn't need the reduced side yard setbacks, but with the reduced backyard setbacks for just those homes on Lilburn on the north side, for that to give us some extra wiggle room to make that pathway work. If that works for you guys, we can make it work. I believe we can absolutely make that happen.
Go ahead, Councilman Nelson.
So one of the concerns I have with that, because I agree, I think that you've had enough feedback, you could probably go back and do some of that. But, you know, the one bit of information that neither you nor us have tonight is what ACHD is going to let you do with that road.
Mhm.
That's going to, everything hinges on that.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Mhm.
Either that, and that may push you into a situation that with the plan that you've got,
Mhm.
it doesn't pencil. So you got to look at something else. So I would rather that you go away and have that conversation with ACHG and come back with a definitive plan that we know what's going to happen going forward.
Mhm.
I think based on some of the feedback you've heard here tonight from citizens, that having a definitive plan that we can put in a development agreement and everybody can stack hands on is going to be really important.
I think, I don't know, Anna, you've worked with ACHD, if we can have, I know there's some tangents that ACHD may approve. I don't think we'd be able to do it back in the napkin now, but I think we'd be able with confidence say possibly, see, and that's, but I know you know those tangent lines better than me.
She could come up and speak to that.
Sorry to throw you under the bus, Anna. You know ACHD.
Her name Dana, is that what you said?
Was that?
What's her name?
Anna.
Oh, Hannah.
Anna.
Okay, all right.
I'm so sorry. But you can answer ACHD questions better than I can.
Yeah, my name's Anna Herning. I'm the civil engineer for this project. Address is 3103 West Sherrill Drive. We can definitely check with ACHD, but I feel since they are okay with the current road alignment, I think bumping it down another 20 feet shouldn't be a big issue with them. But we can definitely check that.
Okay. Perfect.
So is that something that you want to go at risk on and rather have an approval that if ACHD doesn't give you what we're asking for, that you're going to have to come back and do everything all over? Or do you want to?
He's our Director of Land Development. One more to the list.
More to Martin Taylor, address is also 3103 West Sherrill Drive. Just to speak to that roadway alignment, if you just look at the tangent, it's going to come down at an angle, it's going to bump down an additional 20 feet. What we're talking about is losing lots. So if you approve the rear yard setback with the condition that we add that pathway, you make the dimension of the pathway to match the other 20 feet pathways in the other part of the community, all we're doing is talking about figuring out how to still maintain a certain number of lots, but still adding the pathway and making the ACHD road alignment work.
Okay, got it.
I don't think that that's an issue. We're just talking about, we don't know what number of lots we might lose, but we also don't know if we're going to lose any because we could get creative and figure something out. So we're not asking for a continuance. I think we have plenty of information to move forward with conditions.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions of the applicant?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
Uh,
You're
can-
not done yet.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll stay up.
Hi. Can you talk a little bit about the grading?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah, so all I can say is that especially when it comes to boulder walls throughout the other parts of Milestone Ranch community, from my experience, and again, I'm not a land development manager, but I'm surrounded by land development managers. The only time we've really done boulder walls, from my understanding, is for grading. I've never understood it to be for privacy. I may misunderstand that situation, but every time that I've heard of it talked about, those boulder walls were installed for grading. And I know as you move north through Milestone Ranch, not this site specifically, through Milestone Ranch, there is more significant grading change. So I know that boulder walls are present in order to accommodate that change in grade. This site, I believe, from the highest point, which is in the north, to the lowest point, and it's about a 700-foot, I guess if you go from the north to south, it's about 700 feet. I think you're losing, just now, raw land, I think it's about a 12 to 15-foot height change. But with our grading plan, especially for these homes here, the grading will match. We have that. That is in the preliminary plat that we've submitted to the city. We show in our grading plan that the grading match is there. And again, Ryan Morgan would make us adhere to that. Throughout the other parts of the community, there's enough of a gap here. We're not going to see any significant grade change from backyard to backyard because there's enough of that landscape buffer, which will condense down, but they still should not be back to back. We're not going to see those big boulder walls there, at least in this portion of the community. I'm not sure what Iron Mountain Estates looks like here, but at least from backyard to backyard within that community internally, we're not going to see those boulder walls because the grading is not as drastic on this site.
They'll be cutting it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant at this time?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So how, for the elevation in the milestone, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
I keep
that's-
saying it wrong. I apologize. So in milestone, were those the elevations in those? Did we just not look at that difference?
No, but they're different all over the place. In the northern part of the city. There's several developments. Some have stone walls, some don't. Some have earthen walls on that up there. So it's not something that you would typically look at probably.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant? Anybody? Okay, hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
23, I'm going to close the
Whoa,
public hearing.
whoa,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Mayor, back in the back, your city engineer.
Yep.
I just want to say that I'm looking at their preliminary grading plan that they submitted with their preliminary plat. Most of those lots are cut by 2 to 3 feet already. So they are not only meeting that 15 inches, they're exceeding that 15 inches. And so it's likely that these homes will sit lower.
So we need
Good.
to, basically what we need to say is that they need to be level. That's what needs to be said when we do.
Yep, level or lower, which is what their plat shows.
Because if it's lower, then the
Then it's-
people there are
You'll
going to be
run
looking
into the
into
same
this-
situation.
Right, right. So we want it to be level.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you need to make that when you, whatever
Yeah.
motions you guys do. Okay? Are you done, Ryan? All right. It's 8:24. I'm going to close the public hearing and go to council deliberations.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen.
So the conditions that I've taken note of thus far are grading to match the existing homes. I don't know if we need to be more specific than that, but
What?
lot grades,
Lot grade? Okay.
existing homes, lot grades. We're requiring a 20-foot landscape buffer with pathway along the northern edge of that property,
And returning back, like on that corner?
with the path returning back. Yeah.
Okay.
So the northern pathway looks a lot like the southern pathway, right? That's what we intend. We have fencing and border walls as needed to ensure privacy between homes. And I'm going to add in there, no side windows on these side setbacks, no side windows that line up with each other on adjacent homes. And that we grant a waiver of rear setbacks along the homes that are built on that northern portion to help allow for that 20-foot landscape buffer.
What is the waiver allowing? Is there a foot designation?
I
or you
believe it was
just
10 foot.
unlimited?
Yeah, thank you, 10 foot.
From 15 to 10,
From 15 to 10. Okay.
just for the northern property,
Just for that street,
on the north side of the street.
on the north side of that
Yeah.
street.
Okay,
Did it capture all those? Or what's missing?
Sean? Anything else, Sean, that you heard?
Is that a 5-foot interior walkway matching? That we're making a pathway? Is that right?
A pathway along there, yeah.
It'll be a 5-foot interior pathway.
To match the other interiors?
Yeah, if you want to be specific, yeah,
If you want to make it, yeah, setback.
yes.
Okay,
So the pathway to be 5 foot wide, right?
I'm trying to, is that what they were on the interiors of the other?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the fencing, to have fencing, but do we want to match it with milestone
Well,
style?
I believe they represented the plan was to
Yeah,
do that, so
okay.
if we need that as a condition, I'm happy to include that. So fencing matches existing sub.
It's in the plan also.
Oh, it is.
Well, I don't think they've submitted a fence plan to Sean. That's
Was in-
forthcoming, so.
Oh, that one was incorrect. Is that oh, okay, gotcha, okay. All right,
So we can make that a condition as well.
okay.
And I don't know how you condition the sales process, you know, when you go see a spec home and it's built one way and you anticipate that yours will be that way and it's not, you know, I can really empathize with that. That's not nice. I don't know how we condition that. You know, a lot of times buyers just have to be aware, but you know, that is behind my intent that fencing and border walls will be installed as needed to ensure privacy between homes. That's just not something that we need to.
All right. Any further comments,
Mayor Chadwick?
Councilman?
So regarding the parking on the street, it looks like that frontage is larger. So they should have, majority of them should have a parking spot. It looks like it might be a little tighter on that west side. Can people park on the east side of where that street is? I can't read it.
Yes, because it's not a
Both
collector.
sides.
It's so they could park over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
park on all
Yep.
all
Okay.
sides of these streets.
Yeah, we don't have any no parking signs
No.
required by the fire.
The only place you can't park is in front or near a fire hydrant. correct, Victor?
Okay.
So wherever those are placed, you won't be having any parking.
There's no
Nothing
parking.
you can
on
do about that.
Milestone.
What's that?
Milestone's a collector. There's no parking on Milestone.
Right.
On the main road.
Yep.
Okay.
So Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
I move that, that we approve this application. Having reviewed this application, I find that, that the plan is consistent with our comprehensive plan and our unified development code. The conditions that we've talked about here tonight, I feel like, improve the application and, also represent a lot of the feedback and requests that we've heard from our community here tonight. So that is my motion.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second?
Mayor, back here. Before you vote, may I ask a question, please? Councilman Nielsen, you had a condition in there about no side windows across from each other.
Right.
I don't know how in the world, I need something more specific because I don't know how I'm going to enforce that. I look at every single building permit that comes through and I do the design review on every single building permit. And then, so from but I don't have, if they haven't sold houses, I'm not going to have two houses side by side to know. And then from a plan perspective, I'm not going to be able to determine that those windows are across from each other. So I kind of need something a little more specific that's a little more enforceable.
Well, I would say that I hear where you're coming from. And, this is going to become part of the development agreement. And if the developer develops contrary to the development agreement, they're going to have to change it. So that might be one of those things that you notice after the fact. And then, Toll Brothers, you're going to have to fix it. So don't do it.
Okay.
All right.
And this is for all the sites, all the houses in this,
Yes.
all sites.
All right. Anything else? Do we got so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will, second.
We have a motion by Councilman Nielsen, a second by Councilman Hershey. And you got all the conditions, Sean, right? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call. You got discussion?
I kind of have a hard time trying to figure out what the windows lining up, how you do that without just the house is 10 foot the other direction. That's what blinds are for me. I think that's the city overreach for me. 15, sorry. Still closer than anything I'm interested in. Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna be close to the next house. That's what I'm saying.
Any further discussion on that?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I'll say this, that, there are different types of homes and each one of those homes has different layout and there's flexibility on window placement. And where we're dealing with, significant elevation changes and privacy issues, this isn't the first time I've heard of privacy issues that are occurring in some of these areas, and not just with the Toll Brothers places too. Some of the other developments that have occurred up on the bench areas that have these elevation challenges. Look, it's just something that we need to be aware of, and I think we've heard it enough times that it's a condition that we can put in the development agreement that asks them to build a product that offers the people who are going to buy a home and excited about the home and not thinking of the details of actually everyday living and trying to move about in their home and being in a fishbowl. So I can kind of see where some people might look at that and say that's a city overreach. I'm certainly not trying to flex any sort of power that I think it puts an unfair burden on the developer. You're going to put a window in there. You've got options as to where to put that window. And so I don't feel like I'm causing a financial burden. I think this is a planning burden. And if they're conscientious with it, then there won't have to be any penalty or rework.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to item, everybody gonna stay? All right, we're gonna stay. Okay, moving on to item 7B, the 25-26 appropriation publication.
Oh, yeah.
So I need the council to tentatively approve. We'll wait just a second so everybody can leave if they want to leave. This is the exciting part, not the boring part.
All right, the whole part's coming.
No, you didn't, no. All right, so we're gonna move on. What you need you to do is to tentatively approve the appropriation that's gonna be published, that we have to get published for our public hearing in August. And this came out of our workshops that we've had. And the total amount is $26,559,539 with a property tax levy amount of $2,202,714. And so I'd entertain a motion to approve that. This is not saying that this is what it is. This is just saying that we could publish this. So we can have our public hearing on August 7th.
All right, Mr.
Discuss
Mayor,
it. Councilman Hershey.
This is something, we discussed all this. I make a motion that we approve it at the number stated.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. All right, then I need a motion to go into executive session with the code down there so we can have a discussion.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I move that according to Idaho Code 74-206C, to acquire interest in real property not owned by a public agency, we enter executive session.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call?
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. For everybody's aware, no action will be taken in the executive session, only after the executive session. So it is 8